This video is going to have a special spark, so listen closely. If you keep attracting men who don't choose you, who vanish, or who only come around when it suits them, it's not bad luck. It's your inner child, the part of you that learned to confuse love with abandonment and who is still choosing from that wound today. As long as that little girl is in charge, the healthy grown man won't be able to recognize you. Who is he? He's the one who doesn't play games, who doesn't create confusion, who loves with presence and decisiveness. But he only resonates with women who no longer beg for love, because they've already learned how to give it to themselves. Today, I'm going to tell you how to become that woman. And when you do, he will show up. And I guarantee you that. This video is powerful because I'm going to touch on things no one else talks about today. So hit the like button right now and subscribe. It's completely free for you, and it helps me enormously. Okay, let's dive in. First key: the ghost child who chooses your partners. How is your past secretly running your love life? Maybe you haven't realized it, but every time you got obsessed with someone emotionally absent, every time you clung to someone who wasn't ready, every time you tried to rescue a relationship that had already left you in ruins, it wasn't the adult woman making those decisions. It was her, your inner child, a part of you frozen in time, wounded, neglected, a small, emotional, broken version of you who keeps grabbing the wheel whenever your soul goes searching for love. And you didn't even know it. Carl Jung explained that the unconscious doesn't just run your life, it does so with such subtlety that you call it fate. But today, something in you is ready to see what no one ever taught you. You're not attracting these situations out of bad luck. You're attracting from your wound. And when the wound goes unrecognized, it becomes your compass. A broken compass that always leads you back to the same place. Relationships with men who are unavailable, who can't nurture you, who make you feel small all over again. Let me share a true story that illustrates this. Sheila was 34 years old with a string of failed relationships that all seemed like carbon copies of each other. She always fell for emotionally immature men, the ones who said, "I'm not ready," the ones who came on strong and then vanished without explanation, the ones who wanted something casual, the ones who only knew how to take but never to sustain. At first, she thought she just had bad luck. Later, she believed there must be something wrong with her. Until one day, in therapy, her psychologist told her something that left her speechless. "Do you think it's really you choosing these men? Or is it your inner child repeating the same emotional script from your childhood?" Sheila didn't answer, but something broke open in her chest, because, for the first time, she realized that the small version of herself, the one who never felt enough, who was never heard, who was always trying to earn love, was still choosing from the wound. And that day, her life changed because she understood that this ghost child wasn't just alive, she was making decisions for her. And that child wasn't looking for an adult man. She was looking for her father, or her mother, or whoever was absent. She was unconsciously trying to repair the irreparable. And that's why time and again she felt drawn to what hurt, to what felt familiar, to what was incomplete. Here's the brutal revelation. Every time you chase after a man who doesn't choose you, it's not love. It's your wound trying to fix the past. Every time you justify his indifference, every time you endure his coldness, every time you keep hoping he'll change, it's not really him you're waiting for. You're waiting for the person who failed you when you were a child. Your mind knows that makes no sense. But your energy doesn't know, because your energy still vibrates from unresolved lack, from the little girl who still believes that if she does everything right, someone will finally see her, choose her, protect her. And this breaks you silently, because your adult woman knows you deserve more. But your wounded child is terrified that if you don't try, if you don't endure, if you don't save the situation, no one will love you. And here's the moment your love life transforms forever. When you understand that what you need is not for him to change, but for you to look at that inner child and embrace her for the very first time. Because until you do, she'll keep choosing. She'll keep triggering connections where you don't feel seen. She'll keep sabotaging what's healthy, because healthy feels unfamiliar. And she'll keep pushing the adult man away, because your vibration is still that of someone who's waiting to be taken care of. This is the moment you see it clearly. Your inner child doesn't need a boyfriend. She needs a mother. And that mother is you. Because the healthy grown man can't appear until you stop vibrating like the little girl who's still searching in others for the protection you won't give yourself. The adult man doesn't resonate with open wounds. He doesn't want to be your father, your savior, or your medicine. The adult man is looking for a woman who no longer chases validation because she already contains herself, nurtures herself, and sees herself. And that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're finally ready. Ready to stop living from the wound. Ready to break the pattern. Ready to come back to yourself and tell that little girl she never has to choose for you again. And now that you know, now that you've seen the root, now that you can no longer pretend to be blind to what's vibrating deep inside you, get ready. Because in the next key, we're going to identify the 3 core wounds in your inner child that, without you realizing it, have been repelling the man you truly deserve. And when you discover yours, everything will fall into place. Stay close. This is just beginning. Second key, the 3 wounds of your inner child that repel the healthy man. Identify yours. I'm going to take a quick pause to ask you, from the bottom of my heart, I'd be incredibly grateful if you subscribe to the channel. That's what allows me to keep creating these heartfelt messages, and the best part is, it's completely free for you. Subscribe now, and let's keep going with the most powerful part that's coming up. You already know it's not random. It's not a coincidence. It's not that you're doomed to attract broken people. It's that there's a part of you vibrating from a wound so ancient, so quiet, so automatic that you don't even realize it's still active, but it's been guiding you in every relationship. And the most painful part is this: that wound doesn't just attract unavailable men. It also repels the ones who are available. Yes, even though you might not like hearing it. The healthy man doesn't run away because you're intense, or because you love too much, or because you're too emotional. He runs because he feels there's no room for him, because you're still full of unmet needs. And even if he can't put it into words, his soul senses it. He picks it up in your vibration, and he pulls away. So today we're going to shine a light on something that might hurt, but will free you forever. The 3 main wounds that often live in your inner child, and that, without you realizing it, are pushing away the emotionally available man you so deeply desire. 1. The wound of abandonment. Are you going to leave me too? This is the most common and the most invisible wound. It's born when, as a child, you felt that someone important left, physically or emotionally. A father who wasn't there, a mother who was too busy, a literal abandonment or an emotional one. And that child grew up with the feeling that love disappears, that good things don't last, that presence is unstable. So what happens when this wound shows up with a man? It makes you hypervigilant. You're on high alert for every change in his tone, every delay in his response, every little gesture. If he doesn't reply quickly, your body goes into panic. If he takes too long to text back, you feel like it's over. If he has a bad day, you interpret it as lack of interest. And your anxiety isn't coming from the present, it's coming from the past. You live with constant fear of being abandoned. And without realizing it, that fear makes you chase. And chasing, even when there's love, pushes him away. It smothers him. The healthy man doesn't want to run away. But when he senses that any delay, any silence, any pause could explode into an emotional storm, he withdraws. Not because he doesn't care about you, but because he doesn't want to carry the weight of a wound he didn't create. 2. The wound of invisibility. Do you really see me? This wound is born when, as a child, you were emotionally ignored, not heard, not validated, not celebrated for who you were. Maybe you were the one who never caused trouble, the one who was never a priority, the one who learned to be helpful to be noticed, the one who silently screamed for attention while nobody realized it. And this wound creates a brutal pattern in your relationships. The constant search for validation. You strive to be interesting. You go overboard with your appearance. You embellish your achievements. You feel that if you're not doing something extraordinary, nobody will choose you. And even though that comes from a desire for connection, it ends up feeling like approval anxiety. The healthy man perceives this as pressure, as insecurity, as energy that's not sharing, but seeking validation. And the healthy man doesn't want to be your mirror. He wants to be your partner. If he constantly has to reaffirm your worth, correct your negative thoughts, hold you emotionally every time you doubt yourself, there comes a point when he feels like he's with someone who can't see herself. And that, in the long run, erodes the connection. 3. The wound of injustice. No one understands me. I have to defend myself alone. This wound comes from childhoods where you were treated harshly, where your feelings were minimized, where you learned that showing vulnerability was dangerous, where your sensitivity was rejected. And that child grew up needing to stay on guard, to control, to protect herself. This wound shows up in how you love. You don't open up easily. You analyze everything. You're suspicious. You think, if I let go, I'll get hurt. So you don't surrender. You don't flow. You don't trust. And when something bothers you, you don't have a dialogue. You attack. You don't ask, you assume. You don't express, you lash out. And what happens? The healthy, emotionally available man doesn't want a battle. He wants a partnership. And when he feels that your energy is defensive, that you're ready to fight, he shuts down because he doesn't want to be your enemy, but without meaning to. You treat him like one. And that attitude doesn't come from today. It comes from the little girl who learned that the world isn't safe and that the only way to survive was to always be ready to defend herself. Now take a breath, feel, and be brutally honest with yourself. Which of these wounds resonates with you today? From which one are you choosing? From which one are you pushing away the love you say you desire? Because if you don't see it, you'll keep saying there are no available men, when in reality there's a part of you that's still not available to receive them. And that part doesn't need more punishment. It doesn't need more demands. It just needs you to see it, to embrace it, to validate it. Because only when you stop fighting your wound can you begin to transform it. And only when you recognize it can you take the next step, to become yourself, the wise mother that little girl needed but never had. Stay close, because in the next key I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. How to talk to your inner child, how to hold her, how to repair from the inside what nobody could ever give you from the outside. And that's where your entire love reality starts to change. Third key, how to become the wise mother of your inner child. The inner dialogue that heals everything. You've seen it. You've recognized it. There's a little girl inside you who is still very much alive. And no, it's not your imagination. It's real energy, a deeply active psychic part of you that holds memories, emotions, unprocessed wounds, and unconscious decisions that continue to affect your love life today. But here comes the crucial point. It's not enough to know this little girl exists. It's not enough to identify her wound. You have to do what nobody else ever did for you. Embrace her, listen to her, guide her, paint her. And that, my dear, no man is going to do for you, no matter how conscious, loving, or present he is. Nobody can enter that part of your soul except you. And this is where the concept Carl Jung explored so deeply comes in. The integration of the unconscious. It's not about eliminating the wounded part. It's about bringing it into consciousness, integrating it, and transforming it. And how do you do that? With the most revolutionary act you could ever offer yourself. Becoming the wise mother that your inner child never had. Not a perfect mother, but a safe, loving, constant presence who lives inside you and is available every time your inner child wants to react, run away, fight, beg, or chase. This isn't just a metaphor. It's psycho-emotional training. It's energetic alchemy. And today I'm going to teach you how it's done. Step 1. Create inner space. When your anxiety spikes, when you feel fear, abandonment, jealousy, the urge to control or to beg, stop. Be still. And instead of thinking from your adult mind, ask yourself, who inside me is feeling this? Because it's not you, the complete adult, it's her, your inner child. The one who's terrified she won't be chosen. The one who believes that if someone leaves, her whole world will fall apart. The one who learned that to be loved, she has to make superhuman efforts. Only by recognizing that it's not your whole self feeling this can you step out of the reactive loop. Step 2. Make emotional contact. Once you identify your inner child, talk to her. Seriously. Do it out loud if you can. Write it down if that helps. But speak to her as you would to your own daughter, 5, 6, or 7 years old, crying in a corner because she feels unloved. Say things like, I'm here with you. You're not alone. I'm not leaving. You don't have to do anything to earn love. You are enough just for existing. Speak to her as her mother would, a present, conscious, non-judgmental mother. Repeat this contact every time your little girl tries to seek love outside of you. At first, she won't trust it. She spent years alone. She's learned to survive and she doesn't yet believe you'll stay. But if you keep showing up, if you keep holding her, if you come back again and again, your nervous system will start to rewire itself. And one day when he doesn't text you back, you won't fall apart. Because she won't panic anymore. Because you're there to hold her. Step 3. Change your internal dialogue completely. Do you know what's the most common violence women inflict upon themselves? Their own inner language. You say things like, I'm being ridiculous. I ruined everything again. I'm too intense. He probably doesn't like me enough. Something must be wrong with me. And all of that is internal emotional abuse. It's repeating to your inner child the same message she heard when she was little. That she was too much. That she was a problem, that she wasn't worthy. So every time you catch yourself doing it, stop, correct it, reprogram it. Say instead, I'm learning. I deserve love. Breathe. I don't have to fight for what's real. I'm safe here with myself. I don't need anyone to validate me. I already see myself. This isn't cheap positivity. It's energetic medicine. It's reparenting. It's reshaping your psyche from love, from care, from connection. Step 4. Visualize yourself from this new place. Picture your little girl holding hands with your adult self. You, the woman who no longer begs for love. You, the woman who no longer waits to be chosen. You, the woman who walks with her chest open because she has chosen herself. Practice this exercise every morning, before bed, whenever you feel low. Feel that little girl inside you and tell her, I'm taking care of you now. I'm not going to abandon you. I am the adult you were waiting for. And together, we're no longer going to chase what never gave us peace. This work isn't something you do once, it's something you sustain. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll stop reacting the same way. You'll stop tolerating what you used to tolerate. You'll stop chasing what used to obsess you. Because your little girl will no longer be looking for a man to give her what you were denying her. Because now she'll have it with you. And on that day, you'll start vibrating differently. You'll start attracting differently. And the healthy, grown man will appear. Not because you followed some strategy, but because you're no longer choosing from emptiness. You're loving from wholeness. Stay tuned, because in the next key, you're going to hear a real story. A woman just like you who, after years of repeating the same pattern, healed her inner child. And stay close, because what's coming next is the final conclusion. And it's not just any ending. It's a profound reminder of who you truly are, and why it's only when you stop waiting for someone to choose you that you finally become the woman who no longer waits, she chooses. And when you choose, the entire universe responds. Fourth key, the story of when the inner child healed. The true story of how an internal change transformed her love reality. There comes a point in your journey when you stop theorizing, stop analyzing, stop mentally understanding everything. And you start seeing it reflected in your real life. Your vibration changes, and the world responds. But for that to happen, you first have to make a silent decision. You're no longer going to choose from the wound. You're no longer going to let your little girl choose for you. And when you do, you discover something almost magical. The man who once seemed irresistible, the one who kept you awake at night, the one who made you doubt your worth, starts losing his power over you. And that doesn't happen because you stop loving him, or because you hate him, or because you found someone else. It happens because your inner child is finally at home with you. Let me tell you a true story, one that might reflect more of your own journey than you imagine. Her name is Juliet. She's 36, a brilliant lawyer and professional, but her love life was so repetitive that she could no longer blame chance. Every time she got excited about someone, it was the same script. He started out attentive, available, interested, but little by little he faded away. He stopped texting with the same enthusiasm, canceled plans, left her messages unread. And instead of pulling back, she did the opposite. She texted him more. She tried harder to be understanding. She tried to figure him out. She told herself, he's had a difficult childhood. He doesn't know how to love. Maybe he just needs time. But deep down, she wanted just one thing: to finally be chosen. Until one day, after yet another unexplained goodbye, Juliet broke down. In the middle of her sobbing, sitting in front of her therapist, she heard words that changed her life. "It's not him, Juliet. It's your inner child who keeps looking for in these men what she didn't receive as a girl. She believes that if she does everything perfectly, this time she won't be left. But it's not really you, it's her." Juliet didn't reply. But inside, something shattered. And that same day, she made a decision that changed everything. She began working with her inner child. Not in some abstract way, not just in her mind, but from the heart. She wrote letters to her. She spoke out loud to her. She visualized herself hugging her whenever she felt anxious, and every time she wanted to text a man who was ignoring her, she first turned inward to her little girl and asked, "What do you need? Why do you want to text him again? Are you feeling lonely or worthless?" And little by little, that desperate need for contact began transforming into internal presence. She no longer needed him to validate her existence, because she was validating it herself. Weeks passed, and something deeper happened. Juliet was no longer attracted to the same kind of men. One of them, the one who'd left her waiting more than once, came back around with the same old speech. "I've been going through things, but I want to see you." And for the first time, Juliet didn't feel butterflies. She felt clarity, sovereignty, peace. She replied calmly, "Thank you for reaching out, but I no longer vibe with that dynamic." And the most amazing thing was what happened afterward. She felt no anxiety. She wasn't waiting for his reply. She didn't feel guilty. She felt free. And then, the unexpected happened. A few weeks later, she met someone new. A man who was emotionally available, mature, stable, affectionate, with a genuine desire to build something real. And what surprised her most wasn't that he existed. It was that she didn't feel the urge to impress him, to fix herself, to adapt, or to earn his love. Because she was no longer choosing from lack. She was choosing from her fullness. This man didn't come to heal her, save her, or complete her. He came to accompany her. And that was only possible because her inner child was no longer doing the choosing. That's the real story you wanted to hear, because it shows you something vital. You don't have to chase a healthy man. You have to heal yourself so the healthy man can see you. Because if you don't, your energy will keep broadcasting the same frequency. "I'm broken, save me." And even if you never say it in words, that's what people feel. But if you do the inner work, if you hold your little girl, if you become the inner mother you never had, your energy changes, your attraction changes, your reality changes. Because the healthy grown man doesn't show up to save your inner child. He appears when your whole woman is ready to love without chains. And now that you've felt what happens when you heal the root, get ready. Because the next key is going to put words to something you're already starting to sense. Why is a truly healthy man magnetically drawn to a woman who's no longer waiting to be chosen? Because she's already chosen herself. Stay close, because what's coming next will close a cycle in your soul. Fifth T, the new attraction. Why is the grown man magnetically attracted to the whole woman? Do you know where the true moment of transformation lies? It's not when you understand your wound. Not even when you heal it. It's when one day you simply stop being attracted to what used to obsess you. And you don't even know how, but it no longer hurts. That's the instant when your soul shifts vibration. You're no longer choosing from the little girl begging for love. You're choosing from the woman who has already chosen herself. And although you can't see that with words, it's felt like a magnetic field. That change doesn't come from empty affirmations or from saying, "You deserve the best." It comes from doing the inner work, from your little girl no longer needing external attention to feel loved, from peace taking root in your energy. And that's when, without even seeking it, the grown man starts to notice you. And do you know why? Because emotionally available men aren't drawn to chaos. They're drawn to clarity. And there's no clarity more powerful than a woman who no longer needs to be chosen, because she's already chosen herself. Let me tell you a true story. Her name is Lucy. She was 38 years old and had been through 2 divorces. In both cases, the pattern was identical. She got caught up with emotionally childish men. Brilliant, magnetic, charming, but utterly incapable of sustaining a mature relationship. With the second man, she reached the point where she felt she might die if he left. She suffered anxiety attacks every time he turned cold. And even though she knew she wasn't getting what she deserved, she kept going. She begged, justified, tolerated. Then one day, after another absurd argument, just one more in a long list, he simply stopped writing to her, blocked her out of nowhere, and she collapsed. She couldn't eat, she couldn't work. She felt like her entire world was falling apart. But in the midst of that darkness, she did something she'd never done before. Instead of running after him, she went looking for herself. Not out of pride, not as a tactic, but because something inside her finally understood that she could no longer keep begging for love, that her inner child was bleeding out, and it was her responsibility to stop the hemorrhage. She began an intense journey of inner connection. Visualizations, letters to her inner child, therapy, retreats, inner dialogues, journaling. And the most impactful part was this. It was no longer just a symbolic act. It was an energetic reunion with parts of herself she had forgotten. She remembered that as a little girl, she felt invisible, that her father was distant, that her mother demanded perfection, that nobody ever taught her she was enough just for existing. And every time she felt anxious about her ex, instead of giving in to the impulse to call him, she sat down with her inner child, held her, soothed her. And day by day, that desperate need to chase disappeared, because she no longer needed him to come back. She had come back to herself. A month later, the classic message arrived. "I've been thinking about you. How are you?" But this time, Lucy didn't tremble. She didn't doubt. She didn't rush to reply. Instead, she felt peace, detachment, and strength. She answered calmly, "Thanks for writing, but I no longer resonate with what we shared. I wish you all the best." And then silence. A silence that didn't hurt. A silence that felt like freedom. That was the moment her energy fully shifted, because for the first time she didn't choose from fear of losing. She chose from self-love. And do you know what happened after that? No, a Prince Charming didn't appear the very next day. But completely different kinds of men started showing up in her life. One in particular, Raul, saw her at an event and approached her with respect. He wasn't flashy or intense. He was authentic, calm, real. And though at first Lucy feared repeating old patterns, her energy was already different. She no longer needed constant validation. She no longer doubted her worth every time there was silence. She no longer lost herself trying to please. And Raul noticed it. One day he told her, "There's something about you that makes me feel like you're no longer emotionally hungry. And that makes me want to be around you, because I don't feel pressure to prove anything. I just want to share life with you." And that's when she understood everything. The grown man doesn't come to fill you up. He comes to walk beside you, but only when you are no longer empty. And here's the raw, sacred truth. A woman who no longer needs to be chosen is the most magnetic of all. Because there's nothing more attractive than someone who radiates from her own center, who doesn't surrender out of fear, who doesn't shrink herself out of insecurity, who doesn't chase out of anxiety. And that doesn't get built from the outside. That's born the day you take your inner child by the hand and say, "You don't have to beg anymore. I'm here now." That's the day everything changes. The way you talk, your eyes, your aura, your presence, your frequency. And that's what makes the grown man not just notice you, but recognize you, respect you, and stay. Because an emotionally healthy man doesn't want to rescue you. He wants to see you shine. And you can't shine while you're dimming your own light, waiting for someone else to come and turn it on. But now you know. And now that you know, you can't go back. Stay close, because what's coming next is the final conclusion. And it's not just any ending. It's a profound reminder of who you really are, and of why it's only when you stop waiting for someone else to choose you that you finally become the woman who no longer waits. She chooses. And when you choose, the entire universe responds. Now you know it was never about changing partners. It was about changing where you were choosing from. And that where was your inner child, that part of you who felt alone, invisible, insufficient, and who believed love had to be earned. But today, after everything you've just integrated, you are no longer that little girl searching for approval. You're the woman who has learned to hold her, to care for her, to sustain her. And that invisible gesture is what changes everything visible. Because when your inner child feels safe, you stop needing someone else to come save you. And it's in that moment, when you no longer desperately need love, that healthy love appears. But it doesn't show up as some external miracle. It arrives as the perfect reflection of what has already happened inside of you. And now you understand, healing was never for him. It was for you, for your story, for your soul. Because when a woman truly chooses herself, the universe stops sending her tests and starts sending her blessings. And that begins today. Leave me this phrase in the comments if something inside you has awakened. I'm no longer waiting. I choose myself. I'll be reading your comments, and I'll leave a heart if this message resonated with your soul. Now it's time to take the next step. Subscribe right now so you can keep raising your vibration with every new video. Give this video a like so more souls can hear what has freed you today. Share this video with someone you know who also needs to let go in order to heal. And of course, leave your declaration in the comments so this message becomes sealed in your energy. But above all, don't leave just yet. There's so much more waiting for you. Dive into the other videos here on the channel and keep expanding your energy and your power. I'll see you in the next video.